How are the names of features determined? Well, for the most part, you can probably ignore naming altogether. In the dynamic workflow provided in Bentley Civil V8 iSelect Series 3, the naming of elements becomes more convenience rather than requirement. There are some exceptions, though. For example, some things such as road names, it may make sense for you to actually name them according to the road names. It's not exactly a requirement, but it probably makes sense in some situations. One requirement that does exist is that if you're going to export the features into one of the native products, COGO database, GPK, ALG, or FIL files, then there may be naming requirements or restrictions in the target export format. So the naming is determined by the feature definition, which contains a default name prefix. And then this is applied to the elements as they're created. Now you can override that default prefix if you wish. But now this is truly a prefix, and it's automatically indexed with numeric suffixes. So let's take a look how it works. Alright, so I have then my feature definitions set up, and I'll use this feature definition bridge. You'll notice in my feature toggle bar I've already chosen the feature definition and it is active. I'll start the line command. You'll notice that it populated the name prefix for me already. So where does that come from? It comes from the feature definition, which contains a value for the name prefix. So that gets populated in the command by default. So now if I draw the line, I'll take a look at its properties and you'll see that it's named Bridge 2. And so where did the 2 come from? Well, I already had some others, and this was the first one I drew, and so if we look, its name is Bridge. Then the next one I created, it named Bridge 1. It automatically detected that the one already existed, and so it started adding numeric suffixes. So by the time I draw this third one, then it's named Bridge 2. Now we mentioned that that is a default value. So I'll start my line command again. You'll notice that it's populated the name prefix with Bridge, but I can put in my own name. Now I'll create the line. Now look at its properties. And you see it gave it the name. And so I don't have to keep the prefix that's in there. I can put in and override with something that I want. Now this actually makes more sense then if we look at the center line of a roadway. So I'll choose my horizontal alignment, and I'll start a different command. You'll notice that it's put in a prefix from the feature definition, but I can put in a name of my own choosing, even with spaces if I want. So now if I take a look at the properties here, then it used my name. So now we have the profile open for our center line. Let's just take a look at one of the commands. We'll take a look at, and if we take a peek at the dialog, you'll see that the name prefix is actually blank. This is somewhat different in profile than what I just showed you in the plan space. So then if I create this, and I'll show you, it actually creates with no name. So you see it has no name. The thinking is in profile that you'll have so many different bits and pieces that eventually get complex, and you might have 2 or 3 different alternates, that it makes more sense for the profile commands that you would actually always give it a name, and that most of the time a blank name is actually okay. And so in profile commands, you'll have to usually input a name of your own choosing.